We are live. What's up, folks?
Yay.
Now today, I have a very special guest. This is part of the I've been interviewing candidates from all over. Now, the fact of the matter is that this is the first East Asian candidate that I've actually interviewed, I think, in the past 3-4 years. Besides, I have interviewed another Asian candidate named Dilip Nath. I don't know if you know him. You know Dilip?
Not much.
Okay, but you've heard the name, perhaps? He's making some moves in the, I believe, the Bangladeshi community. He's pretty small. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
He's near Jackson Heights area, I believe. But anyway, But here we're today for you, right? My first East Asian candidate. I'm so happy to have you. You're also interesting because you're also a third-party candidate, right? I also have the only third-party independent candidate forums in the 21 election cycle. So for New York City mayor race. So that was pretty cool. I'm very excited for you on a number of reasons. So anyways, I'm gonna let you start off by introducing yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ed. I want to thank you for this particular honor. And I recognize you have done so many wonderful work to help voters to receive more comprehensive information about the candidates. So I just want to thank you for doing what you did, and you did it so well. So thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. So I graduated from Zhongshan University in mainland China, and then I came to America for graduate school. And my major was electrical engineering. So I'm an engineering person focused on problem solving and budgeting, all these kind of technology, all these kind of topics were my original, hi, Corey, original focus of work. And I did that for as an electrical engineer, and then later program manager at Sun Microsystem for almost 10 years, right? And then it just so happened in my life that I became a Christian, that I encountered Jesus Christ. And that made a watershed moment for me. And then I start to be really into reading the Bible, knowing about theology. And I felt God called me to become a Christian pastor. So that's when I start to study Christian theology and history. And I resigned from my very lucrative job at Sun Microsystem. And then I became a student for theology. And I studied at the first seminary in the Bay Area, and then later in Reformed Theological Seminary in Orlando. And after that, I went to Harvard as a special master student to study history because I hope to let Christian theology and East Asian philosophy to have a dialogue, to have conversation. So that was my intention. And my professors at Harvard highly recommended I should come to Columbia for my PhD. And that's what I did. My son was born in the middle of my program, and he wants more attention than my PhD program. So I studied a number of years, and in the last stage of writing thesis, and then do a lot of traveling for primary sources. I don't feel like I could both take care of my baby son and continue on my PhD. So that's why I did not finish my PhD, but that's how I continue. And during the course, I was also ordained as a pastor. So I started to teach
if I could just for a second, right? If you were actually working as an electrical engineer at Sun Microsystems, that's kind of like the pioneer. People might not know, but like if you're like, it's like a Microsoft level, right? Like as in terms of like, big, big penetration. So if you already had a job at Sun Microsystems, it's like having a job today at like Google or, one of these big tech startups. So much respect to that. You're definitely respecting your field. Now, the thing is that we have Corey on. Actually, what happened was that we've been going to schools recently. We actually were just at Columbia. I know you just said that you were at a PhD at Columbia, and this is another activist that I work with. I was going to have her introduce herself right quick, just give a little pitch, and then maybe she could ask one question about her own situation, and then we'll get her back out of here, and then we'll finish up this interview. But I just want to
wonderful, please.
Great. Okay, so go ahead, Corey, introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, Helen. Very nice to meet
Corey.
you. Happy to be here, and very interested to learn more about you and your policies and your philosophies, and especially as it comes to and relates to education within the New York City area. I don't know how briefed you are in some of the activism that DJ Elf7 and I have been doing as it relates specifically to higher education, but definitely looking to reform and get some oversight in there. Yeah, so I guess more or less.
Well, just so you know, Helen's running for city council, and we're actually really targeting CUNY. You might not know, Jennifer Robb recently left, and there was federal funds that were being stolen by Professor Patterson over there, which I believe led to the resignation of Jennifer Robb. Recently, she was replaced by someone named, what's her name again? Nicole Cantor?
Nancy Cantor.
Nancy Cantor. I always mess that up. Yeah, Nancy Cantor. But, you know, there's a lot of problems at CUNY, and actually Corey herself is a victim. I'm a victim myself. There's a lot of state funds that are going missing, being misspent. You know, by the way, a quick question, Helen. I don't expect you to know everything, right? But guess how much the SUNY chancellor is paid. You want to just guess?
SUNY chancellor.
CUNY.
2 million? 2 million?
2 million?
Yeah.
Okay, well, a little bit. It's less, right? It's actually about 750,000.
Okay, that's a
To
lot.
put that into perspective, how much does the U.S. president make? Right?
Yeah, that's true. So my feeling is this. I know education is a very big topic. I don't mind people make a lot of money. For example, because you know, like Bill Gates, you know, is one of the top earners. I don't mind people make money, even though they hold a public office. They are not supposed to make so much money, right? You are a public servant. You are not supposed to. But I personally don't mind if you make $1 million or 2 million. I don't mind as long as you do very hard work, right? So, like Elon Musk, he is doing a lot of work. He's, you know, is he number one maybe in his wealth, but he doesn't live very luxurious life. So I don't mind people making money, but I don't want people not doing their job. So right now, our New York City public education is in complete disarray. So we are spending $20,000 for drag queen to do story time to kindergarteners. That is a misuse of public fund. So I don't mind, let's say if I pay Corey $2 million, and Corey is going to do a wonderful job. She's going to dedicate her entire energy in finding good programs for the children, make sure everybody pass the exams, have high level of proficiency in math and the basic ELA, then I'm willing to pay Corey $2 million. But right now, a lot of the schools have 8% passing rate for state tests. And state test is already not the most difficult test in the world. So what does it tell you? If year after year, a school is doing that, it tells me the principal is incompetent. The teachers are incompetent. They should not continue to hold these jobs. So I don't think that's right.
Corey, she's just on for a little bit at the beginning. We're going to get back to the Unified Platform 24 interview as usual. But just to remind, just so you know, myself and Corey are both victims of abusive college administrators in the CUNY system.
That's
not
horrible.
only were they misappropriating money, not only were they having cocaine parties and stuff and taking kids to the Caribbean. You could look it up. This guy named Jeff Parsons.
Really.
Serious, yeah. Yes. He was sexually harassing people while he at coke-filled parties. it's really, and this caused Jennifer Robert to resign, and now there's a new president they just installed, possibly connected, possibly not, but there's some federal mishandling of monies. Like I think maybe millions had to be returned. I'm not sure exactly, but it was pretty bad. Anyways, I appreciate what you're saying, and just so you know, there's a slight tie to that, but we'll get to that later, right, in the post interview. But I just want to introduce to Corey just real quick. You're running for I think City Council District 1. That's like Lower Manhattan.
Yes.
There are some. Is there a CUNY school there? Maybe Paces? No, I don't think Paces is CUNY, but
yes, I think we have
maybe Borough of Manhattan is down there.
Yeah, Pace is in my district.
Is that
that's
CUNY?
Not,
no, right?
Not CUNY.
That's
no,
private,
no,
Pace is
maybe
not,
BMCC.
but I think I'm more talking about the public schools, like the K to 12.
Right,
but,
right.
CUNY is very close by. The NYU is close by, and CUNY is not. However, this is the thing. If I get elected, right, my policy will affect the entire New York City. I will be one of the 51 city councils. And what I can guarantee that will happen is I'm going to expose what you and Corey suffered. Because yes, and I can promise you that we will work to expose that and to ask for accountability. Because if I get elected right now, I can talk about it. Hopefully, a lot of people will watch this video. But if I get elected, I can read a statement on the city council floor. And I can even enact laws to. I can submit a bill called CUNY SUNY accountability. Maybe only CUNY, not SUNY, because SUNY is state, right? So only, but I can say I am going to have an accountability bill, and in the bill, the two of you, I ask you to help me to write that bill, right? But in that bill, I hope I will be able to ask for a third-party audit of how the money is being spent. And I will have, so I think it's a good thing that we can talk about it and have it investigated and have a bill submitted. So
I appreciate that. Any other questions you had, Corey, before we go back to the regular thing?
I mean, not really. I guess, just to get you to understand, Helen, about how this is truly affecting the public, I mean, the entire teachers union of CUNY right now is speaking out about how essentially, these top executives are paid top dollar within the system, and the teachers are treated like, it's a revolving door there for the teachers. They don't have any,
accountability.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's no allegiance to these teachers. And then ultimately it's the students that are suffering as a result. And they're the end,
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, she lost she's losing her
volume.
Yeah,
hello.
Oh, yes, you're back.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I mean, it's just, and that's the public, that's the education aspect of the public. And there's a lot of other things that this entity essentially, it's educating our youth, right? And then that's a huge problem when
I think that is an area of concern. And on top of that, I can share with you some other government agencies, such as Homeless Works, homeless shelters, where they build homeless shelters, and jail system. All these are part of the departments that we need accountability. But I can tell you, both you and Corey, Ed and Corey, our city has been run by the Democrats super majority for the past 2-3 decades or even longer. So all these constitute a loophole that they don't need to have accountability to the voters, to people, hardworking families. Because Corey, when you and Ed become the victim, your family are suffering with you, because your family probably suffer a great deal, even greater than what you feel personally. So, but as a super majority, they don't need to listen. right? So this is a major topic that we need to look at from a systematic point of view, that we cannot allow Democrats to have supermajority. I will argue similar ways. Let's say in Texas, we may not want to have Republican supermajority unless they're doing good things, then that's fine. But if there's corruption, Mitch McConnell, he's a huge corrupt politician in is it Kentucky, right?
Or North
Yeah.
Virginia, something? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think all these they need to have accountability, and the two-party system or independent three-party system is a way to kind of checkpoint the other parties and their conduct. And otherwise, there's no accountability necessary, because if I corrupt money,
Yeah,
the judge is
I think
the
that makes
judge is
a lot of
not
sense,
going to
yeah.
look at it.
So
Yeah.
the thing is that just the last thing, just to clean it up, and then I guess we're basically done with Corey. But the thing is that recently we came back from Columbia University. We were there on their opening day.
Yeah.
I know that you're a former alma mater of Columbia University.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say, right? Because we were handing out our cards. Do you have anything to say to the students at Columbia? Or I know that they're not in your district, right? But do you have any plans, or like for the city, right? For people that are going to Columbia, they may see this video because we gave them our card and they might be watching. So anything you
Yeah,
want to say?
I think Columbia need to have a strong leadership. So they
They
have
just got rid of the president, right?
Yeah, the president resigned, but the new acting president is not strong himself. He's being
Interesting.
bought. Yeah, a lot of people criticize that he's even worse than the woman that resigned, because they have a very strong. The Jewish students say they are anti-Semitic. For me, I look at it as a biased administration, meaning they would treat a group of activists this way, but treat a different group a different way. So if you are pro-Israel and say, I want Israel to finish the war against Islamic terrorists in Gaza and the Middle East area, you are being labeled as hatred. You are hateful. You want people to die. You are a murderer. And Columbia is not going to have a piece of that. So you are being shut down as hateful and murderers, right? Because you support murdering. But if you are pro-Palestine, which is the show the entire world witnessed last May, a few months ago, April and May, you are being you are receiving special treatment. You can even occupy the entire front lawn. You can even occupy a building.
Oh, wait, but I just do have a quick question, right? Yeah, like not to really make believe this point or everything like that, right? Yeah,
Sure.
But the thing is that wasn't the president removed because she wasn't protecting the Israel supporting students enough? So it seems like the bias would actually be for Israel and not the other way. I mean, yeah, I did see the encampment happening. It seemed like a lot of students liked the idea of the Palestine thing, but it seems like the real bias is really pushing towards the pro-Israeli side, because it seems like they're even getting rid of the president to try to change the policy.
Yeah, I think the president was removed because of I agree with you that there's pressure from the pro-Israelite side. So pro-Jew side, they have a lot of business connection, a lot of donors. So they felt the heat, so they removed. However, when she was handling the entire situation back in April and May, she obviously was siding with the pro-Islam side. And that is for the world to see. The world saw it, that they could do what they can chant. They can chant end of America, end of Israel. It's not just Israel. It's also end of America, end of Christians. They burn American flags.
I have to admit that I wasn't so really following it because I had so much other political stuff going on.
Right.
There's been a little bit of my radar. I've heard this and that, but now they're getting into like territory that I didn't even know, right? Yeah, but
Right,
I know
right,
you
right,
were
right.
a PhD student for a long time. Your insight as in terms of like, I know about associate professors and things
Right.
like that, adjunct professors, like what that means. So actually, we're working with a lot of other students and other potentially faculty and also administrators real soon. We already have, I think, agreement from 3 different presidential candidates to try to get a meeting between Corey, myself, and the CUNY administrators.
Okay.
So yeah, we may be, your participation is just really huge, and I thank you for that. So, Corey, thanks for stopping by.
Of course.
I guess we'll go back to the regular
Corey.
Helen, thank you. Best of luck to you.
You're the
I'll be
best.
following you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks.
All right, so now it's back to us going back to the regular program as scheduled. I was going to actually kick it off with her and then get to the regular thing, but
no problem. Okay. It's wonderful.
So the second question is, the thing is that everybody has a different start, right? Like, I know you told me about like your journey from being a son, right? Us older heads, you can look it up, folks, right? Yeah, they're really kind of the pioneers in the internet game. So really, right? They're really, if you were there, then much respect. You definitely could have a top tier tech job nowadays, no problem, but you decided to go into the religious world. But when did you, and then you decided to get into government? Were you always government minded? Was there some activism? What kind of started your journey into activism or politics?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that. Well, I has been doing Christian pastoral work, like preaching, helping families, all these things for a number of years until 2015 actually. And I remember vividly one day I was at home, and then they say, Donald Trump thinks everybody from Mexico are rapists and murderers. And then I say, that is, how do I put it, unbelievable things to say, right? How stupid can you be to say something like that, right? So I was like, really? And then also, I don't even know who is Donald Trump. I'm not following a lot of things. I know he has a few buildings, but I don't know who is Donald Trump. I never listened to him, never watched his programs, nothing. So I don't know who he is, but I know he was running for president because I watched like 2 minutes of the introduction that his daughter did for him. I didn't even listen to him, but I listened to Ivanka Trump, and then I say, wow, she is very nice. She only spoke for like about 2 minutes. I didn't listen to the rest because I had to rush out to teach some class or something. So I remember I had like 2 minutes, and then he said his dad always do things ahead of the time and under the budget. So that's the only thing I remember. And then he mentioned about the Roman rink, which is currently in Central Park, servicing the entire New York City. And then I said, oh, I didn't know Donald Trump did that, So I said, oh, that's very interesting. And that's within the 2 minutes of Ivanka Trump's introduction of her dad. And other than that, I don't know anything. And then the next thing I know was Trump is a rapist. Not he's a rapist, he's calling all the Mexicans being rapists. So that's when my academic antenna went up and say, I'm going to actually search for the original video of the Trump speech, because how stupid can you be, to say something like that? I'm just thinking, for someone who built such a big tower, big real estate, tycoon, probably is not that stupid. I'm just by natural antenna. So I went to search for his original speech. That was the first time I ever heard Donald Trump speak. And then in that short video, he talked about the southern border. Okay. And I was so shocked. And because southern border was never in my vocabulary. I never thought about southern border. As I just shared with you, I don't watch movies. I don't watch those programs. So I'm not really in tune with what's being discussed on TV that much. So I never know we have a southern border problem. We have a sex trafficking, drug trafficking, cartels. And then gang member coming into our country. I never even know that exists. It was never something that I ever know. But because of that, I did research. Not because Trump mentioned that, so I did research. I typed into Google, and then I realized there were a lot of programs talk about entire warehouse, top to bottom, like all stuff with drugs right across the border, getting ready to be shipped to America. And it talked about the fentanyl drug problems in our country. It talked about how many trafficked children, how many children are gone after they cross the border, how many women were being trafficked. All these are brand new information. I was so shocked. But I didn't continue, and then I need to, teach. I have all things that I'm busy with. But that impressed me that the media was lying about Trump of what he said, because they cut off the sentence. He said they are rapists, they are drug traffickers, etc., and murderers. Even though some of them are good. They cut out the even though some of them are good in the sentence. That's when I say, wow, that is a very important sentence that you cut out, That changed completely what that person was saying, right? So with the rest of the sentence, he's not that stupid anymore. And what he's trying to do is raising a very important question, right? But I was not into politics. I thought, okay, it looks like there's southern border problem that I never knew existed. And then about a month later, I was being pulled back to the presidential campaign again. And that time was because Trump made an announcement and saying he's going to ban Muslims coming to our country. And then boom, I remember I was watching it. It was very late already, like 10 o'clock. I was watching it. And then I say, wow, that is something extraordinary that you said. Again, let me read the whole thing. And then, the academic antenna of me made me do a lot of research again in the middle of the night. So I type in Islamic suicide attacks, Islamic terrorist attack, and I found, whoa, it's another world of very real threats to our country, even though I know about 9/11, but I didn't make it into a global attack. I look at it as somebody just hate America, right? And that it was because a group of religious fanatics. But I didn't realize it was a global organized crime. And that was just a piece of iceberg on top of the tip of the iceberg. So I remember I literally kneel down in front of God because I'm a Christian pastor, as I share with you. And I've been doing that for over, almost 10 years at that time. I was ordained in 2007. Yeah, it's so long. So, by
the way, what denomination do you?
It's called Christian Mission Association. So they are targeting in missionary work in areas that people would envision needs Christianity. So they are not like Baptists that they build Baptist church. So this one is a little bit multi-denominational. So let's say if your background is Baptist, the other person's background is Presbyterian.
That's right. I just want to know if there's a certain denomination. As you may know, I'm actually Seventh-day Adventist, so there's a lot of.
Okay.
specific thoughts about that particular denomination.
Sure.
There's also the Unity Church, right, which is actually associated with the moons, which is way
Okay.
more controversial, right?
Yeah.
Who knows, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but just interesting to learn about that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And
Okay,
I
so it
am
sounds
not.
pretty
Yeah, I'm
standard
not
Christian.
associated. Yeah, thank you for pointing it out. I'm not associated with that. My theological education is a Reform theological seminary, so it's a Reform. But Reform, as you know, a strict Reform do not acknowledge women can be pastors. So on that particular point, I diverge from my seminary's education. Actually, my advisor, which was the president of Reformed Theological Seminary, which is also a pastor that ordained me, Frank James, he's currently the president of Missio Theological Seminary in Philadelphia. But at that time, he was the president of my seminary in Reformed Theological Seminary in Orlando. And he was ousted because he was
supporting you.
Friendly. Yes, too friendly to people like me who are women and wants to be theologian, wants to be a pastor. And they consider him not holding the ground correctly. So they ousted him. And he is one of the best historian and theologians that I ever know. Super, super, duper, duper faithful and smart and like the best teacher. So, but he was ousted. So I diverged from Reform. I love Reform, but on that one point, whether I am being called, I diverge. I have to diverge.
I'm sorry to go on that small aside, but okay, so you were kneeling, you were praying to God, or you looking for guidance.
Yeah, I prayed to God.
And I think that you were very close to the time when you start running for office, because I looked at your ballot.
Yes.
You run for
and
state.
At that time, I still didn't run for office, but that's when I become political aware. So I feel like I had a almost like a second conversion. I prayed to God for repentance. I didn't pray for God for anything else. I pray for God as if I first became a Christian. I repent, right? You know how Christians, they repent from their sins. They admit to God, I'm a sinner. I need your salvation. Right. So I actually pray to God to forgive my sins because I have been a pastor for so many years, right? At that time, it's almost 10 years, but I did nothing about politics. I never teach one thing about our country. I never know that our country or the world is under attack for Islamic terrorism. So I never even know. And as a pastor, I consider that a grave sin, a grave shortcoming, so grave that I need to kneel down and ask for forgiveness. That is not a small thing that I'm being greedy of other people's success. No, it's not even in that level because I'm a Christian pastor. It's not even about me being greedy or whatever, because even that is considered a very small sin, a personal sin. I consider my sin for not knowing the entire Christian kingdom is under attack. I consider that is a very grave sin as a leader for Christian church. So I pray for repentance, a deep revelation at that time. And God was gracious to immediately let me to know so many things, right? So these two incidents.
I do want to ask one more thing, right? I know that you're actually, just so you know, the Christianity I follow, right? I believe that it allows women to be leaders, and right, Seventh-day Adventist Ellen White is kind of like the known figure. Not saying that I'm completely saying she's all good or all bad.
Yes.
But there's different, right? Yeah, different interpretations how to work.
Yeah.
But as in terms of I believe that also, just being aside, I think I saw somewhere in your website that it said that you're actually now or your LinkedIn, that you're now combining Chinese religion somehow with Christianity or something.
Oh, that was my PhD thesis. I didn't combine. I never think they can be combined. But this is what I think. I think everybody has presupposition. Okay, how you view the world, that is your presupposition. Greek have their presupposition. Jews, the Israelites, 2,000 years ago, they have their presupposition, which is the Old Testament God, right? Okay. So when Jesus showed up, they're like, oh, this person is, saying he's God. We can never allow that. He is corrupting our faith. He's going to corrupt our entire people. We are going to be destroyed because he's heresy. So Apostle Paul had that fervent loyalty with the Judaism at that time, which is a complete refusal of Jesus Christ, because Jesus claimed that he is God. Okay, this is just cannot be done. So everybody has presupposition. So for Chinese, their presupposition is very different from a Greek or a Jew. And I think a Chinese presupposition is a little bit closer to a Korean presupposition because they are geographically very close, and that Korean are being influenced by Confucianism, a great deal of Confucianism. However, Chinese has morphed. Their religious belief has changed a great deal from Confucianism. So they are similar, have a lot of overlaps, but also different. So I was feeling that there are so many Chinese, and then if we only teach them theology, which is presuppose the Greek and European mindset or even Jewish mindset, then it's very difficult to reach out to the Chinese people because Chinese have a different set of presuppositions.
Yeah, aren't you? Were educated on the mainland?
Yes, I studied Zhongshan in Zhongshan University. That's in Guangzhou.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Are you Guangzhou? Is that Cantonese? Is that Canton?
Cantonese? Yes.
Are you Cantonese?
I'm fluent in Cantonese. Yes.
Okay. And just a quick question. By the way, I think that's a very good background for your actual neighborhood and district.
Yes.
Actually, I know you're running against Grace Lee. She's Korean, but really, Lower Manhattan is Chinatown. It's not Korean.
Exactly. Yes. Actually, I ran against Grace Lee in 2022. At that time, when I first ran, I realized Grace Lee posed a huge lie to the Chinese community. She pretended to be a Chinese. So
really?
Yes, wow. When I talk to the Chinese,
okay.
Yes, you got to hear this, Ed. When I talk to all the Chinese people, they told me, they said, Grace Lee is a Chinese. I said, no, she's a Korean. And then she said, oh, I didn't know. And then I'm like, why would she pretend to be a Chinese? She doesn't need to be, she can run as a Korean. Why do you want to pretend to be a Chinese? And then I realized it was a trick that some, particularly the Lee Family Association in Chinatown, they played that trick with her to make her look like a Chinese candidate so they can sell her as a Chinese candidate among the Chinese voters.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, there's some shenanigans.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't think she's decent to do that. She should not do that, but she actively participated in doing that. So I guess what's my first message is I say I'm the only Chinese running in this race. And then a lot of people got confused. Say, why do you say you're the only Chinese? Grace Lee is also Chinese. That's when I have a conversation. I say, no, she's not. But my point is, she doesn't need to be a Chinese. If she is a very good politician that have policies that benefit you and me, then I would love him or her to become our representative. But if a politician wants to run on race, which is what she's doing, then do not lie, okay? If you want to run as a Korean, go ahead, but don't lie who you are. So she gave out flat out a lie, but now she no longer do that as much. They're still trying to do that. The Lee Family Association, which is a Chinese family association, they still try to do that for her, but they couldn't anymore because the Chinese will counter her and say, you are wrong. You are Korean. Helen Qiu is a Chinese.
I understand. Yeah. So the first half of the interview is really just understanding you as a candidate, and the second half is really about your policy. So this question is going to ask about do you have a certain particular some like I think AOC says, oh, I'm a socialist, whatever. Some people say they're conservative. Some people say they're capitalists, whatever. Right? Do you have a certain political ideology that you follow?
Well, I learned a lot of the policies. Guess where I learned them? From the Bible. The Bible, Old Testament, actually praise the Jewish people. And God said to the Jewish people, you are a Christian, you know that. God said to the Jewish people, among all the nations in the world at that time, of course, when Moses wrote them, he said, among all the nations in the world, you are the only nation that I have given you the laws, the regulations, the policies. You are the only nation. That means the people. You are the only people. You are the only nation. That has that knowledge, that has that wisdom. So that tells you the foundation of law, which either in the city council is the city law legislation, right? And the assembly or the senate in Albany is the state legislation, right? So both of them are law agencies. That means they write the law. If you write the law, marijuana is okay, then people start smoking even in playground, and you cannot do anything because that's the law. The law says so. So the origin of the law, the wisdom, is from God. God gave law to people and say you cannot murder. That's in the 10 commandment, right? Thou shalt not murder. That's number in the 10th commandment. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not steal, right? These are the most basic laws. You should not murder other people. You should not steal other people's possessions or steal their wives and their children. No, you shouldn't. So these are the most basic. And then from that point on, there's some other laws, some other regulations. They have a law, particularly, for example, about manslaughter, that you accidentally kill people or you intentionally kill people. If you intentionally kill, the law says you will be executed. But if you accidentally kill, they say you don't have any bad ill. Maybe you even kill your friend because both of you take an axe to cut down the tree, and then your axe flew out and then kill your friend. At that time, you should hide in a sanctuary city. Actually, that word comes from the Bible, sanctuary city. You should hide there until the high priest die, then you can go back. Usually that means a long time. Then people no longer want to chase after you and get your life. It's a protection and also just to avoid social unrest, right? So the law of Sanctuary City, actually that I prayed about it, I study about it, like the homeless laws. I think our homeless law should be to accommodate them outside of our very busy NYC. So we are oversaturated with people. We should take care of the homeless, but they should be taken care of a little bit outside of the city. So I would say my political inclination is I like open market. I like creativity. So I would say I'm more inclined with Republican and conservative values. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I do incline with a lot of the Democrat values, such as you need to take care of the poor, you need to help out the people disadvantaged. But
at this point, I just want to jump in for a second because I know that actually you run with I think you've run on a Republican ticket once, but
yes,
you actually
twice,
have twice. Okay, you actually have your own party called the Common Sense Party. Am I correct?
Yeah, the Common Sense Party.
Party.
I wouldn't say that's my own party because I run that so that I can have a chance, to more people. But it was not an official party. And right
so
now,
did you approach them? Did they approach you? Like, what was the
I approached them. Yeah, we have a common sense caucus, which was led by Vicky Palladino from Queens.
So the
Inside,
question is, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I do know Vicky Palladino. I saw your picture with her, right? So what about this in this cycle? I don't think you're not running with the Conservative Party. Am I correct?
This cycle, I did not run for Conservative
But
Party.
they
I mean,
have ballot
in
access. They have
2024.
Yeah. Why not though? They have ballot access. They have their official third party. Why
Right.
not? I think so. Why not?
I ran on Conservative Party on both 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
I believe so. The reason I did not run this year was last year I noticed a lot of the Chinese voters got confused because my name showed up on both the Republican and Conservative.
Okay.
So they voted both because they love me too much, right? They said, I want Helen, I want Helen. But as you know, not everybody is very well educated about how the ballot works. So they actually fill in both. And I got a lot of yes, I got a lot of ballots are declared invalid. Well, there could be other reason that it's invalid, but I think this is one of the reasons because I personally talked to several of my voters. They told me they marked more than one.
Yeah.
So I think it was a mistake for me to have so many names there. They marked Helen Republican, Helen Conservative, Helen art and culture, and then Helen common sense. So they marked me on all four. And I think I lost a few hundred votes. And as a Republican, I think a few hundred votes is probably what I need to win the election. So I cannot afford that. So I decided that I will appear to only one party, even though.
Why not the Republican Party? It's a de facto resistance party. There's larger infrastructure. Why, right? You're not running Republican Party this time, right?
I did run on the Republican Party.
Oh, you did? Okay, so you're a Republican.
And guess what? I did run on the Republican Party. Grace Lee hired a lawyer
to get you off the ballot.
Yes. And then if I have to fight, I have to hire a lawyer.
Okay.
And that was in the early April. Hire a lawyer means I will drag a lawfare to see whether I can get back on the ballot. And then at that moment, I make a decision. I need to make a decision. Either I spend tons of money to hire a lawyer to fight with Grace Lee, or I'm going to run on third party and get, almost 2,000 signatures.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So at that time, I thought, I'm going to outreach to my voters anyway.
Yeah, so I actually love petitioning because that's a great chance to really talk with your voters about,
I would love you to petition with me one day. Okay.
Yeah, even when petitioning's over, I still petition. Just to
exactly. I treat that as petition. Exactly.
Yeah.
You got it. That's what I did, right? So I said, I'm not going to spend so much money in the courtroom fighting with Grace Lee. Grace Lee, I want to point out, is a very wealthy woman. She and her husband are very wealthy. They live in a $5 million home.
Grace Lee has, just so you know, like I said before, you're my first East Asian out of talking to, I think, over maybe 60, 70 candidates across the nation so far. Well, I have talked to East Asian candidates, but not like from New York City, right? So thank you for being the first. Grace Lee is Korean, and as Korean American, I feel very disappointed. And, if you, I don't want to say anything against my people, but I'll be straight up. If she can't talk to one of her own, is she going to take care of you?
I'm actually surprised she didn't come to your interview. I'm actually surprised she didn't come to your interview.
Yeah, well, there's other things. Well, actually, we'll get to that later in the interview. But tell you about like some things that I don't really like. I was complaining about the Asian American curriculum, but we'll say that to the end because that's really. Let's get to the UP24 interview as it is. Just all the questions for all the candidates are pretty much the same. So
Right.
really, you can compare your answer to the other candidates, right?
Right,
So,
right.
one of the things that we also, we already got to learn about some of your history, which is deeper than a lot of other candidates, right? You've run several times, you have an experience, right? You're knowledgeable about the game. It's for people who know, who watch. But the next question is going to be: different people come to this level of running for office with different levels of experience.
Right.
We have quite a diverse experience, but what are you most proud of accomplishing? As
Okay.
a leader, right? Yeah, go ahead.
I want to share a couple things. Two things.
Yeah.
One is I was an elected community education council. They call it CEC, Community Education Council. It's a elected office, but not as formal as other ones. It's elected by parents. So I received the 7th highest votes when I was running for it. And I got elected as CEC in District 3, which is Upper West Side. So Upper West Side, and I was elected. And
7th highest votes in the city in your district? What do you mean 7th highest?
7th highest votes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have the first person, second, third, and then
how many people get in out of the? Is it the top
11.
Top 11?
11 people. However, only 9 were elected. 2 were appointed by the borough president. So there are 11 members, but the borough president appointed 2 people, and then 9 of them are being contested in a vote. So I was the number 7 in my district, and I was elected CEC. And then I was elected the vice president of our CEC. So that's what I did. So when I was there, I helped to sponsor some bills and pass some bills for special need children, and also the gift and palliative programs, and those programs. But I consider my biggest accomplishment as a CEC3 vice president was to ask Chancellor Bank a question. And I asked him in May 2021, I believe that was the time, because at that time, the key to NYC, which is, I call it key to hell, it's forbidding children to participate even outdoor activities. It's horrific. And then children are getting graduated. They cannot even have a graduation picture or ceremony. That is really hard for many children. And in my district, 25% of the children are not vaccinated. So I feel obligated to speak up on their behalf. And that number is about the same for the entire city. So we have over 1 million children. 25% of them, you want to rob their rights to even have a graduation picture with their class. So I asked Chancellor Bank a question. I said, in my district, in a town hall, and then I asked him, in my district, there are 25. Do you have a plan for these families and these children to let them, to overlook their vaccine status and allow them to participate in one of the most important things in their life? And then he was good enough, kind enough to say he will talk to the mayor and report to the mayor about my concern, and hopefully something can be done. So I gave him the data, and I asked him a point blank question within 2 minutes of time. And he replied to me. That video is actually in my channel. I can text you. And then he replied to me, and then guess what? Within 10 days, Mayor Eric Adams gave a special executive order allowing graduating children to participate in every graduation celebration, indoor, even they do not have vaccines.
That's great. Appreciate it.
So
yeah.
I really think that, because we are, how do I put it? That position itself is not a policy maker. It's not like city council. City council, I can write a bill, right? But it's a CEC, it's a parent education council. We have no power whatsoever. However, I feel very proud that I'm able to actually influence the mayor and the chancellor to do the right thing for our city and our children. As a minority voice, I'm not the majority voice. Most people say vaccine, 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 right?
Yeah.
And I'm not that voice. That's number one. Number two, when I was a pastor, I was not even city council or any or education council or any political office. I was just a pastor. I learned about our neighbors' NYCHA complex, the New York City Housing Authority. They have it's called General Grand Houses. It's in Harlem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like the NYCHA houses, Alfred Smith in Lower Manhattan. So they have a beautiful garden in their housing complex. And I learned that the city wants to change it into parking lots.
Mm.
And of course, that means no more garden, right? They want that entire piece of land become concrete and then become parking lots. So I learned about it, and then they are going to pass that in the community board. Community board already sort of have consensus that they're going to pass it. It's like 11:59 o'clock on the entire policy clock. And then on the week that I helped them out, the city already sent people to the complex and do measurements.
Right.
So it's like the vote in community board is community board 9, by the way. So they already have. So what I did is I immediately talked to the garden leader. Her name is Lucy. It's also in my channel. I talked to Lucy. So Lucy told me they already come here. He was almost in tears. They already came to measure it. I said, don't worry, Lucy. Let's try our best. Don't lose heart. Maybe God will help us. That's what I told her. And then me and Lucy did a video with the beautiful garden in the background. We did a less than 3-minute video. And then I make a plea to the community board 9. I say, look at this beautiful garden. And the garden is good that it attracts some of the young people to do some gardening work after school. So I plead to the community 9. I say, please do not vote yes. Veto this proposal. Allow this garden to continue in grand houses, please. We ask you to veto this proposal. And guess what? I was not able to go there that day for the community board. So I sent in my 3-minute video for them to play. And they were kind enough to play it. After they played the video, they voted unanimously to keep the garden. So it's like a complete reversal of their original vote. And they voted unanimously to keep the garden, and they vetoed the proposal, and the garden is still there until today.
That's very good because, a lot of times the parking lots are not actually even used for residents. They're used by the management to rent out to, nearby hospitals, stuff like that. And it doesn't even residents.
You got it.
So to actually twist that around, you're fighting against money interest. That's pretty cool. So
and then it's another example that I was a nobody. I was not some important person or someone with influence, someone with connection, someone with wealth, nothing. But I believe God used me. So you are a Christian. I think we give glory to God. And I also believe, even though I'm a Republican, I'm independent, I'm not the majority voice like a majority Democrat, but I believe if I get elected, God is going to open doors just like how he did when I was official. And then I will be able to do God's work in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Hopefully, we will get things done for the good of our people.
Have you ever heard of the term political maverick?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Sometimes people use it in a positive way, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there someone who's kind of like more influent, right? It doesn't sound like you're really a party player, right? You have your own ideas, and you're not going to let someone tell you what to do, which is good, right? Do you have someone who's an influence to you as in terms of your political thought?
Yes, I would think I like to look at a lot of the policies, and so I learn from a lot of people, right? I learn from a lot of people how their policy can uplift or break a community. So, for example, I give you a very bad example. The city council in the midnight session passed. Oh, thank you, 12
Yeah.
Vegas. Passed a law that allowed um, marijuana to become legal. Okay, so
Okay.
I think that is a very poorly defined bill. Okay, so I think I fully approve people using medical marijuana usage and the city to provide clean and regulated marijuana usage. Not a problem. Okay, or maybe we should have less regulations when people need a prescription. But you have to define where people can use it. They did not define it. So that's why people can use it in playgrounds, in the entrance of subways, anywhere on the street.
So are you building up towards Jesse Ventura, right? Which person is most influential to your thought? Is it? Yeah. Because we know
Who?
Jesse Ventura, I think that he also promotes this marijuana talk. I'm not sure, right? Yeah. So who's
Okay.
influenced your political thought?
Who political thought? Hmm. Well, I would say I'm very much influenced by Vicky Paladino
Okay.
in our city. I think I am on board of a lot of her policies. I'm very much on board.
Okay.
So I think if I get elected, I hope I will become someone like her. I look up to her as my mentor.
And what
That
makes you? What about her makes you look up to her? Like, is there which particular policies or particular, personality traits does she have that are?
she's very brave. She's
Okay.
not thinking about her political career. Uh, like she's openly opposing the open border policy, and then she actually submitted a bill to denounce the Sanctuary City bill.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm totally on board of that. So I think I'm totally on board and influenced by her policies in our city.
I'll send this to Vicky when we're done. I'm
Oh,
sure.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know whether she knows that I like her very much because I don't talk to her like on a daily basis, but I
That's cool.
observe.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure she'll appreciate being influenced. I know of
Yeah.
her work, and I know
Oh,
she's
wonderful.
yeah. So I know that she's someone in this space. So
Yeah, and then I think she put the residents. She's very hardworking. She put people's interest first, which
Right.
I like it, and of course I like yeah, I like President Trump. He put Americans' interest first. He's risking his own life.
Okay.
He was a target of assassination. So I think he is a great model for public servants.
You've got a good shot at winning, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And I recently become more interested in what RFK have to say. RFK Jr. He's an independent.
Yes.
And I learned a lot from him that I was not aware. Just like how
I was actually involved with with fighting vaccine mandates, but I didn't really know about you. You may have been involved. I have seen you around. I know you've run for office several times, but do you think that his people might back you up? Do you have any relationship with them?
You mean Vicky and these people?
No, I meant like with RFK's people. Like I think.
I will hope they. I will hope they will back me up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll
but
see
I have not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have not actually. Maybe I will ask you for some help for some connections because I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I have actually been in contact with them.
Well,
Yeah.
talk about one way to build connections. Actually, one of my
Right.
influences is here. Theo
Yes.
Chino actually happens to be in the chat, and he said, "Is she building her GOP county committee next year? Do you know about
Oh,
county committee?"
I need to learn that.
Okay.
I hope I will build it because I am currently with the GOP Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah, and but I feel like we need a lot of blood to make it more effective and powerful for the people.
That's exactly what county committee is all about. The thing
Okay.
is that each assembly district, right, state assembly district, is chopped into like election districts that are about like maybe 2 blocks like large.
Yeah.
Right. So that would actually be your election team that's inside of like each election district saying, "Oh, I
Okay.
can deliver for you," and going door to door. And we have actually the voter database that we
Okay.
made available for free to the public, and chopped it by election district, so it's easy to work with. So the county committee, once your people are there, then they can really make sure they get you the votes you need to win your state assembly, city council, whatever race you're running. But you already have quite a bit of experience already running several times. That's actually very good, and that allows you to actually build up your knowledge and maybe even possibly funds to really be successful. And later on, a lot of people do that. So, and I've seen actually an increase every time in your percentage of votes that you collect every time you're increasing. So there's you're on a good trajectory, and you're someone to watch. And I'm very excited about your work.
Thank you so much, Ed.
You know what I'm
Great
saying,
honor.
right?
Yeah. What?
Yeah. I said, you know what I'm saying is true, though, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Like the numbers and also it's adding up good. So
Yeah, I got
Theo
about 25% the first time when I was running against Grace Lee. And then I got about 32% last year when I was running against Christopher Mate. This year, because of the lawsuit and everything, I probably may not be able to run against Grace Lee. We will see how that unfolds in the next few weeks or couple months.
We're going to get to all those specifics later on, like
Yes.
at the end of the interview, but now we're just kind of like running through the from 24 interview. Yeah. But I appreciate that so much. Yeah. So that's good to know. Yeah. So shout out to Vicky. All right. So that's pretty much, I think, the real summation of understanding you as a candidate, right? Now we're going to go on to understanding your policies.
Sure.
Before I actually get into the full amount of the policies right there, I'm just going to actually shout out 12 Veils. She's been actually very productive, activist alongside myself earlier, my Corey Edens. I'm going to bring on Keith Gadsden. Actually, he's moderating upcoming U.S. presidential debate. And I might actually bring you in for the one in October because I think Lucas Florzak from City District 4, right? Yeah, Council District 4, he wants to participate as well. So I might have a little New York City Council candidates.
That's wonderful.
Presidential debate. That would be cool.
I would love it.
Okay. So let's take a look over here. So the thing is that I'm going to throw out this question from 12 Veils first. How do you feel regarding the city of Yes?
I think, I have talked to some of my Queens friends and Queens and Brooklyn friends. They don't want the city of Yes.
Right.
For me, I live in Manhattan, right? So I recognize the beneficial aspect of high rises. Okay. So Queens and Brooklyn, they don't like high rises because their neighborhood is in harmony with each other, and they have beautiful brownstones. And all of a sudden, you want to build a high rise among them, they feel, I don't want it, right? So that is the core of the matter. So I think it's possible that the city, let's say if I'm the city council, I would do a little bit more thorough research in the neighborhood instead of just putting something there. Say yes, city of Yes, you have to say yes. So instead of city of Yes, let's do a city of wonder. Like, let's find out what exactly is your concern, because maybe you're concerned about your family property. You have been living in your 3-story brown houses for 3 generations. And now all of a sudden, I want you to give up your house, and then I want to acquire your land and build a tall building, right? And of course, I'm only talking about one aspect of the matter, but I think this is one of the most important aspect of the matter. Is could there be something that we could do? I think we need to call upon urban designers, city planners. So I look at it as an engineering project. So far, City of Yes did not give an engineering plan.
Oh,
Did you
talking
ever
about
see?
engineering plan, just so you know, I'm actually scheduled to do a performance at Maker Faire, Coney
Okay.
Island. I don't know if you know about that. A lot of engineers know about that.
Oh, I
Oh no,
didn't. Okay.
they build a lot of robots. Just it's perfect for electrical engineer.
Oh,
It's very
beautiful.
highly attended. Probably thousands of families go there with their kids.
Okay.
I know that you're running in District 1, but there
Yeah.
probably will be people from District 1 heading to this event. It's a great place to actually be seen. But that's on the side, right? Just want to just, basically yes or no question. So overall, you're yes on the City of Yes. And a lot of people don't know the specifics. You do have some concerns, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have a lot of
Yes.
concern.
Okay.
I have a lot of concern, but I think I'm more in the middle.
Right.
I don't want to say yes to City of Yes, but I also don't want to shut the door. Just like many of my friends said, we have to say no to City of Yes. So I don't want to say yes and no. I think it's a policy need to be delayed. Number one,
Right, yeah.
it needs to be more thoroughly investigated. I need to call upon, for example, the engineer team, and then we need to present something. We need more education. We need more consensus from the community. You need to have City of Yes outlooks
That's
in
fair.
every corner.
That's a fair
And
answer. I
then,
just want to get through all the questions because there's quite a few
Sure.
more questions and I want to write.
Sure.
It's really
Please.
it's not an hour and a half because we kind of started around 7:30, but we're getting on the hour, so just want to
Sure.
chop through it. Yeah, like if it's just yes or no question, I'm just gonna boom it out.
Wonderful.
Just
Please.
one little thing I'm just gonna throw on the side though. Just to finish off with 12 Vales. 12 Vales did ask, what is the use of county committee? Right. She says district leaders don't really like the committee. Honestly, what power the county committee has. County committee determines, right, what machines are used for the ballot process. And if there's a tie, right, exactly what goes down. So that's quite important. They're also responsible for nominating judges. So the thing is that if you want ballot election reform, if you want criminal justice reform, right, if you want something to go through with, like public housing, right, if there's an issue going on and the judge needs to hear it, you need judges on your team. So, and also remember, I said the most important thing about county committee is, right, which is the magic, which is why I'm such a big fan of Theo Chino, is because I don't know if you ever heard of the name Rep My Block, but the thing is that
I would love to hear more.
how do you win your race? Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually released the voter database. I think I have the list here somewhere. So you have a rally, maybe 10% of the people vote. It's a photo op, but really the fact of the matter is that when the politicians really want to win, they go door to door, people that are already registered voters, and they talk to them and they get the change. So the thing is that we know that District 1 is pretty large. It's all of like downtown Manhattan, all of Chinatown, which is very huge. So the thing is that election districts, they're chopping election district, each county committee member, this is the not-for-profit industrial complex that they talk about, and this is the machine. So the thing is that all those little county committee, right, if I know in my 2 little block district who's voting, I have a personal relationship with them, and then I know Helen, right, yeah, and then all those little election district leaders are saying, you know what, I'm rocking with Helen. Helen cannot lose. You understand what I mean? Because
Yeah.
And the thing is that if you have that level of control, you say, you know what, in my block, there's maybe like 200 people living there. And I know that like out of those 200, like maybe 20 of them vote and they're with me and I control this election district. Oh man, it's game time. Let's go, right? We can even get to before the election, we can know whether we're going to win or not. That's exactly what the Democrats do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
see what you're saying. And I think I need that.
this is our exact plan. And you already have rising numbers. You have a good amount of support. So you're someone who really benefit from this program, right? So
I would love it.
That's what county committee is. Anyways, let's get to the my partners now.
Okay.
So the thing is, I like to ask all my partners questions first. So there you go, 12
Of
years.
course, please.
So let's get to the ones I've asked every candidate like since the beginning, right? That Assange is now. Well, just just when we look at Assange, we see the ideas of freedom of the press, right? Yeah, freedom of journalism. Do you have any particular positions on Assange, Snowden, this type of thing?
Yes, I like freedom of press. As a matter of fact, I want to highlight how horrific if Kamala Harris will be elected. She said that very clearly. I'm sure you are following the news on Brazil when they confiscated all the SpaceX assets and then also banned Twitter X in the entire land of Brazil. So yes, so Kamala Harris said she agreed with that, and she thinks that X should be responsible and X should be shut down if X refused to censor certain knowledge. And I can tell you, Grace Lee is in bed with a notorious politician, Brad Hoyman. Brad Hoyman is the one, was the one that penned cashless bail.
Okay.
He was the person that drafted cashless bail. And then now he is drafting a bill with Grace Lee called Cannot Hide Your Hate Bill on the social media. So let's say you, Ed, you want to free Assange. And then I say, that's hatred. You are hating the FBI. You are hating the CIA because of what you said. You want to free him. So you are considered hate on your social media post. And what it will do is they directly link to your social media post to your employer. Well, you are working by yourself. Then maybe I am going to shut down your entire business because your business is promoting hate. And according to whom? According to Grace Lee and Brad Hoyman. They think you are hateful. Then you are. So there's no argument because you are under the supermajority of political single party, which is the Democrat and the, in this case, worse than Communist Party, because they are, yeah, Communist Party is very bad, but there's one thing good about them. They're very open. I am a dictator. I'm going to dictate how you do it, right?
I have some friends that, like it's impossible to agree on all positions or priorities. I have quite a few friends who are really against cashless bail. I do also have my own understanding. I was homeless at age 16. I work a lot with the wrongfully incarcerated. So I also, I've never been in jail or prison, but I'm not saying I do see some reasons on both sides. I do see some. But let's. I just want to get through all the questions because I do have actually a lot of specific questions for you because of the other stuff. But I just want to get through all my partner's questions, and it's quite a few. So let's get to the second question that I asked about. I used to have an affiliation with the Yang people to an extent, and also one of the very popular ideas was UBI. I've asked all I think almost 90 candidates about how do you feel about UBI? Yes, no.
Maybe can you tell me what UBI stands for?
Universal Basic Income.
Oh, I think for certain people, it has to be very clearly defined. Just like in the Bible, charity is given to a widow without a relative, okay? So I would say, let's say if we do have a widow who is without any relative, and we have a veteran who is disabled, yes, they should receive not only basic income, but probably a moderate income. But let's say someone that we sometimes see, young people, very talented, very smart, but doesn't want to work, or the mentality is the government, I'm just going to get the government, then no, that person should not receive anything but zero, because giving this person anything is harming this person, is hurting him. I am suffocating. Let's say I give him a $1,000 basic income, which a lot of them already did because of the welfare system. It's in the form of free or low income housing, in the form of medical assistance and education. It's free, public education is free. That's money, it's probably cost more than $1,000, right? So but too much of the welfare is actually suffocating creativity and
I
foster.
just
So
so
I don't agree. Yeah.
being an actual poor person, I actually have to agree with you in many ways. And I know that's going to be a lot of people don't really understand that, but there is a certain dependency that is formed. Not saying it's all bad, but I'm actually on the edge myself. But I do want to ask also, I know that you were actually educated in China, right?
Yes.
Mainland China.
Yes.
And you had some experience with communism, as it were, right? Did you grow up? So did you see that type of phenomenon inside of China, maybe? Or is this really... I don't really know.
True.
Really, honestly, I've never been to Asia.
Yeah, I give you an example. Like Kamala Harris wants to regulate the price of groceries, right? That is actually a very dangerous loop because it's very true. You can see the entire America economics become Venezuela because Venezuela was one of the richest countries. And then within 10 years, it's bankrupt.
And a lot of these people, right? Sorry to interrupt, but a lot of these lefty politicians, right, or these people promoting communism and socialism, you'll notice that there's a real absence of people that actually come from communist or socialist countries. It's really these white academic millionaires who's out there waving their mouths around. Right. I'm sorry to rant a little bit, but it's true.
You're correct.
I'm so thankful for your input because you've actually lived under that system. So I hope people pay attention to what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I was small, like, a few years old, I remember early in the morning, like before daybreak, my dad would take me because I want to follow around with him. He would take me to the butcher's market and then wait in line, a long line already when we arrived, before daybreak, like 5 o'clock or something. And it was cold, even though it was in Guangzhou, it's warm, but in the early morning, in the winter time, it's still very cold and we don't have a heater or anything. And the market is sort of semi-outdoor, right? It just have a roof. It doesn't have walls around it. So we will wait in line to get our share or our allotted share of meat. And you get a small ticket. It's called meat ticket. And you also get a ticket called eggs ticket. So every family, let's say your family, Ed, your family of 4, you get maybe 2 meat tickets. That will be all your ticket for 2 weeks or even a month. You get 2 tickets. And then you will need to use the ticket to get meat. And my dad will wake up early in the morning to do that. Why? Because he wants a good portion of the meat. If you come too late, then the good portion already gone. Then you only have whatever left, right? Maybe it's all fat. Then too bad, Ed. You came so late. You came, people already got their meat. This is what's left. You want it or you don't want it. Just tell me. So you say, okay, what can I do? So I want it. So I get your meat ticket. I cut the meat and then you take it. And then your family will live on that meat over the next a couple of weeks or whatever. That's the meat designated. And then you will use the egg ticket to get, 5 eggs, 6 eggs. It's by counting actually how many eggs you can get. So right now you can buy as much as you want. But if I regulate it, it's a common sense. If I regulated the egg price, then guess what? You are not going to produce eggs anymore because it doesn't make money for you. Why would you do that? So you don't do that. Maybe you're going to produce other things. Then very soon, we no longer have eggs. Or the egg
price. Focus and you don't really drive yourself to produce a lot. You're just like, I'll just do the minimum. Yeah, it's a very dangerous, dependence thing. So
exactly.
You need to start listening to actual Asian people that have experience with this stuff and stop pushing it to the ground.
And then I don't know, when you're small, people ask you, maybe you have children too, you can ask, what do you want to do in the when you grow up, right? And people say, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a physicist. I want to be a businessman, whatever you want to do.
You can. They decide what you get to be, right?
Yeah. And guess what I want to be when people ask me? They say, little child, what do you want to be when you grow up? I told them very out loud, I want to be a butcher.
Okay. But you became an
Because
electrical engineer. Like, is it so bad?
no, I didn't know engineer. I was like very
Yeah.
small when this. Yeah, so I said I want to be a butcher. Why? Because I said I want to cut the best piece of meat for my family.
Okay.
So you can see that was how, when I was small, that was what happened in China. Right now, you can buy whatever meat you want, right? Because China realized the communist economic model is killing them. So they become more capitalized, which is the current day China. They still, in terms of political ideology, they're still communist or Marxist.
Sure.
But their
Well,
economic policy is quite a divergence. It's pretty much like a market economic. So
yeah, this is the thing. Yeah.
Kamala Harris want to destroy the market economy and establish government control economy. So that is going to kill America. Yeah.
Okay. Let's also talk about another one of the people that work with the disabled.
Yeah.
Now the thing is that right now, and you already kind of answered the question, but I just want to, because it's always in sequence in the same questions. So
Sure.
the thing is that right now people with disabilities are allowed to be paid sub minimum wage. Now the thing is that we know that people with disabilities have extra problems, extra costs, right? And we know that minimum wage is kind of like a minimal lifestyle. Would you support at least minimum wage, right? If not necessarily a minimum wage lifestyle, right? And maybe if I understand if the employer can't afford it, maybe it's through subsidies or somehow, but would you at least support a minimum wage lifestyle for people with disabilities?
I would support. This is another thing. I think there should be two incomes for people with disability. One is what the community and the city recognize that among us, maybe we are, our city, we have this amount of people that were born of certain disability that could not make them work in certain capacity as they would wish, like people without disability. So that is called charity. And I fully support a portion of charity, meaning, let's say you are not able to work at all, like a veteran, sometimes they suffer some kind of illness, they couldn't really hold on to a job, right? So I support that. Number two, I support them continue to utilize their market value. So let's say if I have a restaurant, I'm going to hire someone, and that person, let's say I hire them to bag food, right? Put the food in the bag and put it away. Let's say that person, I hire that person, and I hire another person. Let's say I hire you, Ed, and you are able to bag food 20 times faster than this person, or 10 times faster. You get back 10, and then he only used the same time back only one because of his disability. So for me, you are making me to pay you and this person the same. I am not able to afford it.
I get that.
I cannot afford to do the charity
Exactly.
on my business.
That's why I said earlier it might take a government subsidy, because if there is a productivity issue, right? No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm not asking.
I don't want a government subsidy.
Okay,
I don't want government subsidy. I want it to be out of the small business themselves. I want to hire someone like that. I hire. I don't want to. No, nobody will make them. I believe there will be. I believe good people. I believe people will be able to hire someone like that and pay them less. I pay you. Let's say I pay you, $100, and I pay that person $10. Yeah, I pay you 10 times more than that person. True, but that person receive a government charity.
Right. Okay.
Or church charity. You don't. Okay? And that person, that person did not live as good as a life as you are. Let's say. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Just a piece of wood for that. My son's artwork.
Oh, good.
So yes, let's say you are able to take a cruise.
Okay.
And then that person are not able to take a cruise. You are able to do it once a year because you're just so wealthy. You make $100 an hour. That person are not able to do it but only able to do it every 3 years, 5 years. Tough. That's his life. He is able to he should still be grateful for his life.
Right.
Why? Because he is still able to go to take a cruise every
I
5
understand
years.
that. I was asking about
So
minimum
I
wage.
don't want
Not a-
communism.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not a
Even though you are disabled, unfortunate, but with the government charity, I hope that will bring your life to a certain level of competence with other people. However, it's not the government's job or any business job to make it to elevate that life into a luxurious life or
just one thing
even
I want to point
better.
out to this point of the program is that my I work with actually people who watch my program regularly might know Mark Safman. He's actually a deafblind advocate, and actually he does not support minimum wage for people with disabilities, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
But you know, I actually do. I don't usually drive it in, but just
Yeah.
that's just an
Yeah.
interesting little aside. So you know, he's
Yeah,
also
I don't support that either. I don't support that. However, I support government charity because that in philosophy it recognizes that you are part of the community. We don't want you to leave behind.
Sure.
So I hope that part is enough for that person not even need to work in order to support his living expenses. Number two,
minimum wage,
yeah.
Right.
But number two, let's say if that person wants to take a cruise, right?
Yeah.
He can do a GoFundMe and say, I just flat out say I want to take a cruise and it's going to cost me $2,000. If anybody in the world feel like giving me $10, I take it. And I think it's okay. And people should be happy to give him money. You know, let's say if I'm the boss, he work in my shop, right? I hire both you and him, John Smith.
That's kind of the way things are right now. So I'm not mad at that. It is what it is, right? I'm here to really learn your policy. So let's move on to the next question, right? Another community that I work with and that I support is the trans community. Now, the thing is that however you feel about this topic, right? The thing is that there's a lot of times where we know that people who are trans face discrimination in jobs, face discrimination in housing. So they may find themselves needing public housing, right? Because, and the thing is that, let's say, for example, like this is a hypothetical question. I'm glad you have an engineering background, right? So the thing is that these people, they actually, let's say that they are, we do a little study and we say that, you know, about 10%, this is all made up once again, 10% of the people applying for public housing are trans. But then when we look through the system, we see that only 1% of the people in public housing are actually trans. So we're like, why is this difference existing, right? It's 10% of people applying, right? Something seems off. We ask the community inside the public housing to say, you know what do you think is going on, right? We talk to trans people as well, and they say, we're getting beat up, we're getting discriminated against. Now, there's no law saying that you can discriminate against trans people, right? In fact, there's probably laws saying you can't, right? But we know they do face some discrimination. How will you assure them, whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, right? How will you provide them? They're still taxpayers. How will you provide them with fair access to government services?
If 10% are applying and 1% are already in housing, I think actually that percentage is very high, having access.
But if it's 10% applying, shouldn't there be about maybe 10% of people in public housing?
No, because not 100% people applying are getting housing.
Yeah, but like, you know, those 90% of people, right?
100 people apply.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean 100 people get housing.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying 10% of people applying, right? Yeah. And then that would be that, you know, that would still affect the 90%, the same as the 10%, right? So that would mean that 99% of the people who are not trans are getting in, right? Whereas only 1% of the trans people getting in, but 10% of people applying are no
transgender.
Okay.
Transgender, this concept.
Yes.
I would say, even though there are transgender people in the, let's say, 2 decades earlier, but this become a trend. Like, it's as if there are a lot of transgender people in the past it's only in the past decade, past 2 decades, if not the past decade, or even past 5-6 years, that a lot of people become transgender people, like their percentage like mushroomed. So you need to look at how many people have identified as transgender in the past, let's say 5 years, and how many people identify as transgender in the past 20 years. And you could argue that, oh, because people don't want to identify as transgender, they were fear. Yes, that's a possibility. But I can also say, maybe that's not the whole story. Maybe that's not, maybe some people, there are a lot more people out of not necessarily true reason identify as transgender.
Okay, that's actually good, because the second part of this question, which is kind of related, right? You could hear in the question, it kind of like has like elements of quotas, right? Things like this kind of like, and it helps us to really understand how you build your policy, right? Using the numbers, right? Yeah, which are,
okay.
Again, which actually I agree with you that sometimes the numbers, the definitions change.
Yeah,
right? It's not
exactly.
really defined.
And then also,
how do you design your solution?
And so to tie into the last question, I think a lot of the people are already in housing, like low income housing, like in the housing, like the NYCHA that I visited, Alpha Smith, for example, they have tons of people living there for 10 years, 20 years already. So when you do your percentage, you are calculating generations in the grand houses. Lucy, the lady I mentioned, her grandchild is living with her. And I actually talked to Lucy. I say, I know you like to live in public housing because it's low rent, but it's actually suffocating because, like Ed, right? Right now, if you can become a millionaire because our video is so popular, you would, right? But what if I say, Ed, the moment you make more than $10,000, you lost your housing. Then maybe out of fear, you don't want to make that much money. You intentionally make yourself make less because you don't want to do such a good job. I'm not saying it happened, but subconsciously people like security. So if you have a secure housing for the rest of your life versus insecure housing, then maybe you will end up doing secure housing versus insecure housing.
The funny fact is, Helen, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I swear to God. I swear to God. I'm so sorry. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. So that's just hilarious. But because I have this huge student debt. So actually I don't really see myself as another pathway. So I'm taking exactly that path that you're describing right there at my application in for public housing right now. I'm sorry
you are?
because of my because of my
I am very surprised at, because for the little that we talk and the little we interact, I think you were an extremely talented person.
I appreciate it. Well,
This is how I feel. If you one day you're making, I don't
my work,
I don't know whether you will agree, but I think you are worth $1 million.
We'll see. Let's just continue on. Let's do this interview. I'm gonna keep you in touch with some of the other things.
Especially Ed, you have Helen on your program.
Oh yeah, appreciate that. Yeah. We're doing a lot of things. Okay, we're doing a lot of things. So let's move on with the questions. Okay, so the next question, I don't know if you've heard of a topic called right to repair. Being an electrical engineer, you may know about this.
I actually don't know. Tell me about it.
You ever heard of a guy named Louis Rossmann?
Not really.
Okay, so the thing is, he has over 1 million subscribers, right? Yeah. He's pretty well known. He's actually done some things with the Libertarian Party as well. And the thing is that, electrical engineers, they do board repair, right? Yeah, making the boards and all those designs. So actually, when people break their phones, their iPhones and stuff, now what happens is that the iPhones, they have the screens with inside, there's a chip inside. So if you try to replace that screen with another screen, it'll recognize and say, right? Yeah, you got to buy a new phone. We don't want you to repair your phone, right? Because you don't really own your property anymore and everything's becoming a subscription model. But, cars, they actually tried to do this before where they'd say, oh, if you want to buy a Toyota, you can only get it serviced at the Toyota factory. This fight was happening before with cars, and now you can go to a general garage and get your oil changed. Because if it wasn't, the car manufacturer would love to charge you so much more. So they say that once you own your car, you can take it anywhere you want to modify it or something like that. And just so you know, the reason why we can't have you can watch movies on this right to repair thing. The reason I can't have ice cream at McDonald's is because there's a predatory contract at McDonald's with the ice cream machines where it costs them like tens of thousands of dollars to fix it every time. So most franchises just gave up, and even the American military had such problematic contracts being forced on it that Biden himself had to pass a law saying, you know what, you can't force these contracts on the military anymore. But this is being pushed on consumers right now. You may know about this being electrical engineering. I know you've been a pastor for a while, so maybe. What do you think about right to repair?
From what you said, I would support right to repair because it how do I put it? If you want to compete on a higher level, not competing on the repair. So I believe even if you can allow people, see, I'm using iPhone 8. This is iPhone 8.
Yeah.
iPhone 8 Plus. So I use an old phone. It's still good. So it's a little bit slower. I hope I can upgrade when I run my campaign. It's insufficient. I do need a campaign phone, so it can handle more graphics, video, and all that. But nonetheless, I think you should allow people right to repair. Actually a repair company is a very basic engineering company. In the first job that I held, where I was a design engineer, the first project I did was a re-engineering project, meaning the company want to redesign their control board, and I personally helped them to save over $1. And they treat me like a queen because they only hope that they can save like 60 cents. And I helped them to save $1.35, which is considered like a huge success because that equals to over $1 million. They sell over $1 million in their unit. So I just helped them to save millions of dollars. So they treat me like a hero. So re-engineering and repairing is a basic portion of engineering. Meanwhile, innovation is also a very basic component of engineering. So you do, yes, correct. You should let people repair their phone. And in the meantime, you will also encourage people to bring out new features to the phone, to bring out new innovative things to the phone so that the company, for example, Apple, is not competing with the consumer market, which is the re-engineering or repair market.
Okay.
I think Apple should go to the innovation market because you got the capital, you got the money, you got the engineer. Why do you fight with someone who is trying to get your phone screen business? You should let them, that's their portion of the meal. Let them eat it.
I'll be honest with you. My subscription numbers are very small. My viewership is very small. But with your background in Sun Microsystems engineering, you should definitely hit up Louis Rossmann. If he could have you on your show, your actual views will shoot way up. You know what I mean?
Okay, if you can introduce me, I appreciate that.
I'm gonna shoot you some of his videos after so you could see what he's about.
Yeah, but in the meantime,
right?
I also want to just honor you, Ed. I know
thank you.
We
you don't even know about this.
Briefly.
You don't even know about my work yet, though. You just know a little bit.
But I was a hiring engineer, so I have met thousands of people, and don't forget, I'm a Christian pastor. I have met thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, and families, and I can. I don't want to brag, but I can recognize the talent when I see one.
I appreciate it.
So I definitely do not think. I think you can ignore your housing project application. I think you.
Oh my God! You don't even know.
If I get elected,
well, we'll see.
If I get elected, the first thing I would do is to deny the application by Ed.
We'll see. Okay, we'll see.
I'm just joking, but you see what I mean. I think you're a great talent. Yeah,
Let's
you are great
go,
talent. I want every young people actually watching this show, if they are ever thinking about maybe I should apply for a government housing, I want you to say no, don't apply it, because you, if you are smart enough to watch Ed's show, you are smart enough not to need the housing market.
there's
Housing assistant.
we all get trapped in certain things. Certain things
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Things
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is what it is. But we
I
hope
agree.
we will work together further, and you'll be able to get a good deal, because the harder the situation I'm in, the better deal I give to my partner. So it's good. I mean, it could be a productive relationship for both of us, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
we've pretty much finished the questions for my partners. Now I'm going to ask some general, larger policy questions, right?
Please.
The thing is that we know that the government's split into different areas, right? The city, the state, the national, right? The national takes care of the mail, right? So I obviously not going to ask you questions about the mail, but we know the city takes care of schools. The city takes care of the police, right? These are some pretty big issues, right? The CUNY system. So let's start off with, you said you already had some ideas for the school. You have some experience with CEC. What are your big plans for the educational reform?
Education reform, I think, number one, I think a lot of the reform, housing reform, education reform, and job market reform, all tie into one very big elephant in the room. That is illegal immigration.
Okay.
So if we will have that elephant in the room, we will be doomed. Don't even need to talk about it. All the ideas out of the window. It will not happen. It's just our dream talk. We're talking about things in Mars, because that elephant in the room will corrupt everything. Okay, we don't have the capacity or resources to support that elephant in the room. So our city has to deny Century City law. We cannot accept illegal immigrants in our system anymore. Not even one. We have to deport some. And then we have to close the southern border, which is a little bit beyond the city council and state council's policy responsibility or ability to do. But we need to be united to remove that elephant in the room. Right now, if we get a migrant child who does not speak English, we end up needing to hire a special language partner to partner parallel study with this child, because our law dictated us to take care of that child. We don't have that money. We don't even use the money for citizens. We just talk about people who have disabilities. We did not even have parallel teachers for every disabled child who has special needs. Not every child has a parallel teacher. Yeah. So if our resources are being used for teaching that child who does not speak English to integrate that child into our education system, we are doomed. You just don't have the money. Yeah, you are putting yourself into a situation that you cannot afford. And when you cannot afford it, you are hurting New Yorker's child, hurting your child, hurting my child, hurting every New Yorker's real children that we're supposed to have an obligation to take care of. And the same apply to housing market. Right now, our city already built over 200 homeless shelters.
Talk about those homeless shelters for a second. One of the largest mobilizations in New York City history of the Asian American population is going on. I know it's not in your district, but it's going on in Bensonhurst. I don't know if you've heard about this. It seems
I heard about it. I'm on 86th Street.
So what are your thoughts? That community is actually one that I, been following. I'm actually in the Facebook group. I'm gonna post this in there. They may have some family in Chinatown. Who knows? What's your thoughts on that whole thing?
I think their concern is valid. Their solution, of course, is not a long-term solution. They don't want that to be built on the 86th Street location, because it's near school, near senior center, near near subway entrance, near many small family businesses and nursing homes and all that kind of things. But which block in New York City is not? Which block is not? Right? I actually tell them, I said, which block is not? Every block is near some kind of school, near a park, near a subway system. And it's very hard to find one that's not, right? So the reason why we're building 200 homeless shelters is because we have the elephant in the room. In the we have 20,000, if not more now, maybe 25,000 now in inflow of these migrants. We have spent billions of dollars. We have spent what's the number? 5 billion. The city. What can the city do? You. Let me ask you, Ed. If I give you $5 billion, can you do a lot of good for our New Yorkers citizens and New Yorkers veterans, New Yorkers home children, New Yorkers unemployed, and New Yorkers young entrepreneur? I would consider you as a young entrepreneur. We can do a lot with $5 billion. So that means our city is using your money that is supposed to help you to grow your business. Why can't I advertise your business? Why can't I help to have a fair to let people come to know what you are doing in your business? And why can't I assign student interns from CUNY or SUNY to work in your business for free?
The government does have money, but actually, I think Cuomo's, his brother-in-law or something was actually getting like a six-figure salary, like maybe $200,000 to $400,000. Running it like he's the Kobe Bryant of homeless shelters. But his shelter was not doing that great. Also, there's a lot of people who's getting money in the system. Like, I think that also the progressive Democrats, they took themselves on a free trip to Vienna, Austria, to study public housing.
Yeah,
that's what they're spending the money on. Oh my God! So
I know. And my opponent, Grace Lee. Do you know the first policy Grace Lee passed is to give herself a 30% raise from 110 to 169. 30% in the middle of the pandemic. So I feel like it's excessive. You are correct. That's government spending, government corruption. But beyond that, the big elephant in the room, which is the result of their government, is the elephant. The illegal.
I have my own thoughts on it. We'll probably get into that later, but it's good for us to understand your thoughts, and it's good. Just I've actually been. I was homeless at the age of 16, and I actually lived with a lot of legal immigrants my whole life and stuff like that. Not saying that I'm completely. I do understand also that this community has a right to determine what's going on with it, right, versus letting other people make decisions for it. But that's on the other side. So I just want to really understand your positions, and it's good though. So I appreciate it, right? You're not all wrong. And honestly, Grace Lee, once again, as a Korean American, I'm very disappointed she never had time for me. If she doesn't look out for her own kind, what makes it think she's going to look out for you? So thanks again, once again, for being the first East Asian American to ever come on my, candidate to come on. Well, maybe Theo could count, but he's actually, a quarter Japanese, right? Yeah, he actually has a historical tie to one of the first Japanese American activists in, U.S. history, which is quite interesting. One day we'll cover that. But the first visibly, obviously East Asian person is yourself. So thanks for being here. And I'm so happy with the third party candidate as well. It's really right where I line up.
I really appreciate. And on that note, I also want to highlight, when I talk about elephant in the room, I meant the illegal border crossers.
Okay.
I do not mean immigrants. I myself is an immigrant.
Wasn't there actually a video of a whole bunch of Chinese people crossing the border?
Yeah, there were.
I think so. Being Chinese, what do you have to say about that? Go ahead.
No, don't cross the border.
Okay.
I don't care your color. I don't care your background. You may be my relative, and I would say don't do it, because
follow the law, right? Do it legally. Right?
Yes, of course. Like me, we do it. But the thing is this: when you cross the border like that, it creates a great vacuum for sex trafficking and children trafficking and drug trafficking. These three things are the main reasons anybody who has conscience should not want that. You know, I know people that came, in Chinatown. They crossed, they were being, shipped or whatever to come to America illegally. And they were bound with a high debt. They were being forced to do labors they don't want to do, such as prostitution. And they cannot do it. And guess what? Grace Lee wants to legalize prostitution. It all tied in together. You want open border? Grace Lee wants open border. Christopher Mate wants the same thing. They want open border. They want to legalize drugs, which is marijuana and other drugs, because marijuana is a gateway to potentially many other drugs.
I'm glad you're running against Grace Lee this time instead of Chris Mate, because Chris Mate is kind of, like, he's always nice to me, right? Yeah, so it's easier for me to, like, say Grace Lee's a problem. But Chris Mate, I understand, like, we're not see eye to eye on everything. On some things we agree on. On other things, I feel, I know he's busy, but, there's some critical things that I wish he could help on that he hasn't really responded, but I know he's busy.
No, he's not busy.
More time for me.
No, he is not busy at all. If he doesn't reply to you, that means he's not capable of helping.
I've seen some of the things he's done, like the 24-hour workday thing. Actually,
that's the only thing.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
But
do you know what? The
24 on 24-hour workday, just since talking about China.
24 hours. Yeah. Look, let me ask you this: if you just think about it, 24-hour workday. It's not even
that makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. You got it.
There's some shenanigans going on.
It's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. It's a political lie. I don't mean people has not worked 24 hours. That's not what I meant. There are people that work 24 hours and they switch schedule. Let's say you and I are going to make your TV show 24/7. So you are going to have the morning schedule. I'm going to have the second half, the 12-hour. And then one day you tell me, oh, I'm going to go to vacation with my family. Helen, can you also do my hours? I say, no problem, because you help me with my next week I go to vacation. So I did 24 hours.
Have you actually worked with have you ever actually talked with the home workers? Like, have you?
I did. But they are, how do I put it? They are employees by Christopher Mate's campaign. They pay them some money, help them to make the Chinese to vote for him. So last year when I ran against Christopher Mate, I completely dismantled that particular lie about 24 hours as if he did something. He didn't do anything. He just basically said, do not take over. I just now make a rule. You cannot take over the 12-hour slot that Ed is taking over. Easy, right?
I understand. He's not your opponent now. So but there's a mix. I actually also work with Downstate Adapt, who is also on the other side of that, right? Because it would interrupt their services. So and also, just so you know, the idea of the Medicare also is a federal program that is state, right? That is state. So the city can only have so much say as in terms of what goes on with that without affecting other things. Right. So, it's a little bit more complex, but, Also, I think that
Christopher Mate, he's nice to me too. He's nice to me too. And I am nice to him too.
So he's good at that.
But I told people, I say, if you want to make a friend with Christopher Mate, I say, go for it. Right. You can have a drink. You can go to a cruise with him. I don't care.
Well, at least he's accessible, right? Every time I see Grace Lee, she's running away, and she never, right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Compare these two.
When I see him in person, he'll say hi, and I can get off a question with him. Grace Lee, she's like looking for the exit. She's running as fast as she can. You know what I mean? She's talking to someone else on the cell phone. Maybe it could change, but it's just, and I've also, there's other critical issues that I've emailed her on because of the Asian American curriculum, which is a disaster. It's an insult to Korean Americans. We could talk about that later, right? Yeah?
Yeah, please tell me about it. I actually don't know about it. I know.
Well, I could tell you about it. I've been emailing her about it because she's actually pasted her face all over the Asian American curriculum.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So we'll talk about that later. But there's some other, also the mega jail is a big issue in District 1 right now.
It's a big
position on that.
It's another big farce and the big lie. You know, one thing I realized before, I did not realize because I'm not that into politics, but I just feel like, how can these people, like Christopher Martin, how can he lie and still sleep at night? So I figure.
Well, I think he's also an ally in terms of fighting the mega jail, right? Or is he not? I don't know.
Okay, look, this is the thing. He lied that he opened the Park Road, you know, Park Road where they block it now. The car cannot go past Park Road. Only buses and the police cars can go through, which is hurts like a great deal of lower Manhattan businesses and tourism. And lower Manhattan rely on tourism, rely on small businesses to survive. It's like I take the mic away from you, the speaker, the equalizer behind you, I take it. Do you think you still can do your stereo? Good luck, right? So he lied on public debate stage and say, I got Park Road opened. And he said, I have a great news to tell everybody. And then I actually congratulate him because, true, I am his opponent, but nonetheless, I like what you said. I'm actually very appreciate people do good work, you know.
Yeah. But then you commented it wasn't true.
And guess how angry I found out that it wasn't true. And then I say, you know, Christopher, why do you need to lie like that?
I gotta look into that. I don't know about this, but I'm gonna look into it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a public debate. On the public debate stage, he announced to the world that he got Park Road opened. And I personally say, that's good work, Christopher, right? Yeah. And a mega jail. No, you know what he needs to do? He should write a bill to stop the mega jail. He didn't. So it's like,
I feel like it's so similar to the Bensonhurst thing, right? Yeah, they want to take
exactly. They don't write the bill.
And then just dump it into the Chinese American community. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. And then they don't write the bill. He doesn't want to write the bill. He will never write the bill because that means he's no longer belong to the progressive caucuses.
Let's see.
Progressive caucuses wants to take care of people who are homeless. They want to fight for.
I'm gonna send you this email. I'm a CC Vicky. I'm a CC Chris. They can both watch this video.
Okay.
There we go. How about that?
Wonderful.
Right? Chris, we're gonna wait. We're gonna pass this bill or what? Right? Yeah. Helen's talking to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't have to be all bad all the time, right?
No, he did not even write a bill. Yeah. He did not even write a bill. He said, I write a letter. Who cares about your letter? Who do you think you are?
I feel you on that. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump to another issue right now. Just so you know, I've actually am in contact with Max Ong's father. You might know about John Ong and Max Ong. They were actually some guys came and peed on their building, and then
I am familiar with Brian Ching. Actually, I don't know whether you're familiar with Brian Ching.
No.
Brian Ching was the homeowner of the condo where Christina Yuna Lee got murdered.
Oh, is that New Jersey?
No, in Lower Manhattan. You know Christina Yuna Lee, right? She's a Korean. No. She's a Korean. She was brutally murdered in her apartment. A homeless person who had 12 prior violent criminal arrest records.
Oh, I heard about. I think I was out of the country at the time.
Okay.
So
He followed her in her apartment and tried to violate her, and she resisted. And that person used a knife to stab her 42 times.
Okay.
And she died in the bathtub with blood cover in the entire bathtub. So that was the case with Christina Yuna Lee. And then a couple of weeks ago, a homeless person with a long stick with nails on top trying to attack Brian Ching. who is the owner of that apartment. Maybe he lives there. I don't know about that detail. He's the landlord. Okay. The Christina thing happened back in 2021 or 2022. Okay. But this guy happened just 2 weeks ago. So it's 3 years later. And then that guy was able to escape the attack and then also defend himself and fight back. So he fight back the homeless person that was trying to attack him. And then he probably kicked that guy or something like that. And then he called the police. And guess what? The police arrest Brian King, saying that he physically assaulted the homeless man. And then he said,
in jail right now?
I think he got bailed out, but his hearing is soon, coming up probably in October someday.
Oh, maybe we go to that together. I don't know if you want to go to that, but
I think we should go to that together.
Case. He's actually pled guilty right after the guys peed on his building. Then they beat him up, him and his brother.
I think I heard that. Yeah,
then,
it was a few months ago.
They came back. Then he whipped out the sword, and then he chopped one of them. And then, the guy didn't even die. And then they put him. Now he pled guilty and went in for 2.5 years. So I've been in contact with his dad, and apparently, they've lost contact with their son. I've actually written I found the emails for the warden, and I actually sent emails to all and also a bunch of academics in Asian American studies and other Asian American producers, and said, look, this is going on right now. Can you guys look into that? We're aware, we're watching, making sure this kid's okay. Now all of a sudden he hasn't been contacting his father back. It's pretty. I'm actually I'll forward you that email so more people are aware of it, and hopefully they stop messing with him up there, and he can have a 2.5 years. That's a little bit of an easier ride than really, a lot of times Asians face discrimination.
No, I think right now the law, law is defending the criminals and also punishing the defenders. So if you try to defend for yourself, I don't know whether you remember Jose Alba.
That may be part of the reason why they're trying to evict me from this spot. Honestly, there's a whole bunch. Asian Americans, a lot of times, we're not allowed to defend ourselves, or anything. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So
not Asian America only. Any American. White.
So Max Song and allies and friends, help is on the way. We coming. All right. I'm gonna send this email also to Max's father and let him know that we're getting more people involved. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And he might actually even get you some more support in Chinatown. We'll see. Right. So,
thank you.
Help you win too. Right. Let's talk about some things that can actually. One more person I'm going to talk about is Reese Houses. I don't know if that's in your district. Reese Houses.
It's probably not in my district.
Okay. Yeah. Jacob Reese Houses on the lower east side in the East Village, and the thing is that I know that's in Marte's district.
Probably not. Okay.
Probably really?
Not.
Okay, my bad.
Is it north of Houston or south of Houston?
I have to look up right now. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's the East Village, it's probably north of Houston. Then it's not in our district, but it's adjacent to our district. Yeah.
There might be some spillover then. The thing is that I'm actually also in contact with the family of Gavin Centrone. He's the boy who died at Reese Houses due to arsenic poisoning that was actually caused the resignation of Gregory Rust, the CEO and chair of NYCHA. Okay. So in terms of and also I work with Carmen Quinones uptown in Harlem. So in terms of getting the public housing community on your side, there's some particular issues with them. But there's environmental hazards going on in the public, and once again the garden and stuff. That's cool that you're actually they're predated on in a lot of ways, and you actually defended them from actually installing a parking lot, which actually wouldn't even be a parking lot for tenants. We all know this, okay?
Yeah.
Happening a lot of, so I'm sure that your work might actually connect with a lot of people in public housing, maybe help you to win.
Yeah. So, I go to my area is Lower East Side, like Alfred Smith. So I go to Alfred Smith on a weekly basis. Every week I was there. I use a megaphone and call them. They all know me. They say it's Miss Helen. So I told them, I say, I don't want to promise you anything that I would not be able to accomplish. I say politicians promise you more money. And then I say, I don't want to promise you more money because you do not need more money. What you need is the money to actually go to your home. I say right now the money didn't go to your home. Do you know where the money go? NYCHA has a lot of funding. NYCHA doesn't need more funding. NYCHA's funding is being corrupted, like what you said. It went to interest groups, but not going to NYCHA families. I told them, look at the scaffoldings in NYCHA. I say those are where your NYCHA money go. They went to those scaffoldings.
To the contract.
Yeah, they were there.
Yeah, the largest bust in DOJ history actually happened in federal DOJ history. Just happened for a bribery scandal at New York City Housing Authority.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's very expensive. It's $10,000 per month for just a small block of distance for scaffolding. So you can imagine how much money they need to spend for so many scaffoldings spread out in the entire NYCHA. And they were there doing nothing. They were there for years. I ran in 2022.
Yeah.
They already have it for 6 years. Right now it's 2024. 2 years later, they're still there. So I told them, I said, there's one thing I can promise you. The moment I got elected, these scaffoldings will be gone. And when you call them to repair your toilet, they have people that has a hole on their wall and do not get repaired. And then I said, that's ridiculous. They said, because they said they have no money. They have people whose toilet was broken, not repaired. Their lock broken, not repaired. Their ceiling in the lobby is falling down, not repaired. And I told them I will personally, I said, seriously, I will personally make sure that the ceiling in the lobby will be the first thing get repaired, because I don't want it to fall down and drop on somebody when they're getting their mail.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this has been a great interview. I don't want it to go on too long. It's already been almost 2 hours now. We'll probably do some follow-up. We're definitely be doing some other projects down the line.
Sure.
You know, she definitely was interested in working with myself. I'm definitely interested in working with her. I see her once again as a rising star. How can people, you know, find out more about your campaign, right? Maybe your ongoing social media. You have a website. Go ahead, share all that right now.
Okay, my Twitter, where I'm most active, is at Helen, a numerical number 4, NY, at Helen at NY. And then
NY, right? Okay.
Helen 4 NY. I'm sorry, at Helen 4 NY. And then my email is Helen4 NYC, New York City at gmail.com. Helen4, numerical 4, NYC, gmail.com. Helen, HELEN.
Okay, Helen4NYC at gmail.com. Very cool. And okay, so now that people have your information, they have your website, they have your social media, what do they have to look forward to? You got anything coming up in the
Yes. I'm thinking to have to mobilize some people to register more people in my district to vote. So if people want to do some actual work like such as the petition work, but with a more targeted audience, maybe I will work with you to find out how we can establish that. I would hope to do that.
I got voter registration.
God bless you.
I'm a 100% activist. We actually just came back from Columbia University with Corey Edens, right, and also NYU and Hunter College. We actually gave out 10,000 business cards, right? Yeah, talking about political work. And these are petitions that we had. We actually had Lucas Florzak actually sign one of our petitions, right? This is one of the blank ones because I actually made photocopies and sent that to my partners and stuff.
Yeah. But I actually think we need to counter. One thing I really appreciate what the Democrats are doing. I know they are my opponent, political opponent, but like what I said, I appreciate people's dedication and hard work. So my opponent, for example, Grace Lee, she has a horrible policy. Her policy will hurt herself. I actually think her policy will hurt her own children. But I think the Democrats who work for her, a lot of them are very good people. For example, like she has good people working for her. And right now is a lot of the talented people are working for the wrong candidate.
They
So,
might be good, but they're not as good as me. That's
of
right.
course,
So
not as good as you.
you're gonna
Yes,
see. So I'm a powerhouse.
yes, you are
I'm
the
like a
best.
lot of their people.
So
We're gonna see.
I'm very glad to find out you exist. But the Democrats, what they did is they have an army. I look at
That's true.
Grace Lee's
Yes, it's
petition.
the army. You're damn right. I know. Yeah, you're
You
right.
know, I personally got about 1,500 or more, maybe even 1,700 of petition signatures for my independent candidacy. And then my team got about 200-300 for me. But guess how many Grace Lee got for her run? You want to guess?
I don't know. Maybe 4,000. Maybe that's too high.
No. What I mean is she personally get, which she witnessed.
They have the not-for-profit industrial complex. They also have that county committee, that not-for-profit industrial complex, that are already automatically signing. So
I know. But how many do you think she personally get to petition for her race?
wait, thinking about the numbers.
No, I don't mean how many she need. I mean how many she get it for herself.
2,000.
For example, she can ask her husband to sign or her neighbor to sign.
2,000?
How many do you think she actually got?
2,000 maybe?
No. I got only 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many do you think she got for herself?
8,000?
No.
I don't know.
It's impossible to get 8,000.
How people in the district?
No, it's what? Okay, when you get petition, for example, I will go out.
Just tell me. Just tell me. Yeah, because I don't really know the numbers.
She
Right.
got 0.
0?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
She
just
didn't.
did it?
Every petition signature is obtained by the people working in the Democrat Party.
Yeah, the machine. Yeah.
Yes, the machine get every single signature for her. She got absolutely 0 signature.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy too, right? The thing is that a lot of people have a dream that anybody could run for mayor, right? And the publicly funded elections sound good on the surface, but the thing is that you got to get $250,000 in donations before you can qualify. So only the rich people are going to get the matching donations. So
wow, I
it's
didn't
really
know
a
that.
penalty on the poor, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things that they say are for us, these progressives, right? They say are for us, but actually become weaponized against the communities that they're intended to serve. So, and one way you can tell that they're victimizing those people is the people who are victimized don't have a voice, and it's only rich people who are
Right.
connected at the top who are saying that they're doing things for other people, but they're not letting those people speak for themselves.
No.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and really can help an insurgent candidate like yourself. Really, there's a growing tide of dissatisfaction with our government that I think will put I think Trump's going to win. I mean, what's going to happen is that if we had actually on the 18th, we had planned, we may still do it. I have some of the longest wrongfully incarcerated men in United States history coming through. Ronald Long, the first black, his mother was the first black detective in Pennsylvania history coming down.
Oh.
Yeah, he was formerly on death row, supported by McGreevy to get his exoneration. There's other people, we got people in Wisconsin, right, who's going to make people from LA, people from Chicago that are actually going to give us video support for our coalition, which is not being covered by the press. But yeah, maybe you could be a part of some of these future projects, also like our work for educational reform. We'll be talking more about that later. The Asian American curriculum is an insult, and it's now.
I would like to know more from. Yes,
Yeah.
I would love to know more from you because I have been very busy doing my campaign that I did not know what's in that curriculum. But I know anything that Grace Lee touches is going to hurt New Yorkers.
October 15th, we may have a presidential debate. We may actually have you as a moderator to really build you on a national stage. And I might be even doing some local work with you soon. So we'll see where we could match up. And once again,
I would love to
check me out. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I would love to participate and work with you. It will be a pleasure.
Okay, so I'm actually going to end the stream right now, and then we'll talk a little bit off camera you know, after I end the live. By the way, if there's any more comments from the audience right here, feel free to make your last comments before we end it right now.
Thank you.
Helen for NYC, right? Yeah, check her out. Helen4ny.com, right?
Helen4nyc@gmail.com.
Oh, and what's
And
the website?
I don't have a website. My website just about to expire.
Okay.
And the next year's website have not been up yet.
Okay.
So I think I will.
What about the Facebook? You got a Facebook going?
I got a Twitter, which is
Twitter.
Helen. I do have a Facebook. They can search Helen Qiu IU and probably can find me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool, folks. All right, and the Twitter one more time.
At Helen4ny.
Exactly. Okay. So I think there's no more comments. We're just going to end the stream and we're just going to talk offline and then we'll just make our future plans. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ed.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
All right. I just hit end stream.